Greetings, and today I have another deck here for you guys. This was one of the hardest decks I had to make because I know that there's been word going around of a new Skellige deck that was made. I think Tailbot stream showed it, so I kind of took a look at that. But the thing is, I don't have all the cards available for that deck, so I sort of made a modification and made some changes and sort of made my own deck. But I wanted to try a Skellige deck, so here is I want to call it a hybrid deck because it's not just really about damage. But it does mostly revolve around that as well. And seeing this Draco Turtle got boosted a little bit, or buffed I should say, with having its provisions lowered, that's actually pretty great. So that means I can actually use Draco Turtle as more of a reliable card for myself. So I will be using the Ursign Ritual Hero power just because of its high provision bonus. 17 is actually pretty good, so I decided to use that, which is why I'm mostly basing it on damage. I don't have our Erminion I think his name was, or Ermion, so I can't use the alchemy deck. So this isn't really alchemy, but then Mardroim is a good damage card for your own unit, because you'll be able to activate Armored Drakar's Exposed or further boost up Draco Turtle, but I probably wouldn't do it on the Draco Turtle just because it becomes a tall monster and you don't really want it to fall into tall card removals. So there's options for that as well. So going down the list, I'll obviously be starting off with Olaf. Olaf's always been a good self-damage deck core card, being able to boost. The only way he's going to be really stopped is if either he gets hit by, like a Leo Bonhart, Gigny, stuff like that, or he gets locked. But honestly, that's fine. That's not a big deal. Next card, we have Draco Turtle, which is almost as powerful as Olaf in the sense that it does get boost when it gets damage as well, but obviously it's got to have armor to do that. One of my main things has been maybe taking off some of the damage based cards and sort of adding in armor, just because I think adding a card like the Iron Falcon Troubadour would have been good for the Draco Turtle, so I might make an armor based Skellige deck as well in the future. So next we got Royal Decree. I have to have some deck thin in here, otherwise I'm going to think that my deck is a little bit too fat and I won't be able to have to use my deck's full potential. So Royal Decree is there. You'll see Royal Decree in like maybe 85% of my decks, so get used to seeing it around for a long time. I got Svalbard Totem, just because Svalbard Totem is a pretty decent tempo card. You'll be able to produce 10 power in just one turn, so if you ever fall behind by some near 10 points, then you got Svalbard Totem here. Of course you gotta wait a turn to do that, but honestly it's okay, it's no big deal. The only way they can really disrupt it is if they play spies on you, or if they lock your units, but honestly that's okay. You have other damaging cards, and this card's also a source of damage for your cards that need to get damage to get boosted. Next we got Morkvarg, Heart of Terror. He is actually a very powerful card. He is pretty much the counter for any one boost that your opponent has on the field. The only thing with him is that well, not with him, but the way with having it in your deck is unless your opponent gets really greedy, and I've noticed that a lot of people like to get greedy with some of their cards. It's good for countering engines that rely on buffs, so it's good for the Tridom infantry. Morkvarg will provide some pretty good use in terms of swinging power swings. Next we got Sigdrifa's Right. Being able to summon a Skellige unit from your graveyard to an allied row. This is good for being able to summon one of your engines. So for example, if you wanted to play Draco Turtle relatively early to get that tempo boost from it, you can always use Sigdrifa's Right to bring it back. Similar with Olaf, if you want to use Olaf round 1 as well to sort of provide that bit of a push to your opponent, that'd be great as well. So Sigdrifa's Right's all pretty much like a second chance for any Skellige card that you have to come back to the field. Next we have Knickers. Knickers is just a better roach, less power, and you don't need to play a gold card to bring it out, so it can come out anytime. Even if it doesn't come out, hopefully it comes out though, otherwise it could provide disruption in terms of mulliganing decks. So there's that. Jutta is here. And I'll be honest, I don't know why she's here. I could replace it for probably a Last Wish or an Alzur's Double Cross to further get out my Olaf, to further ensure that my Olaf gets put to the field. So I might actually end up removing her for an Alzur's Double Cross. I'm still going to think about it, but this is one of those cards that can be removable. The reason why she's here in the first place is because of, again, Sigdrifa's Right. So it's good to get that 12 power off the graveyard in turn 1 of maybe the 3rd round if it's a short round. She'll provide you with that very strong power boost. Only problem, again, she's a tall card, so she can get easily removed by tall removal cards, so you gotta be careful about that as well. But if it's a short round 3, they don't usually like to keep tall removal cards. Well, maybe some of them, but I noticed that they like to play like those sort of low end but strong engines for short rounds. Unless you're monsters, then you're just gonna rock out the Ozreal and Ghouls and get like 30 points in power with just 3 cards. So I'm probably gonna change her, but she's here for now, so we'll see what happens. Not the Callus is here. Again, you're good to damage the Draco Turtle by 3 for 3 extra power and a 3-point hit. But I would probably use it obviously for the Olaf just because it's 4 power swing, and Olaf gets more of a boost that way if he doesn't get destroyed beforehand or locked, so there's options for that as well. You could even use it on the Armored Jakar if you have no other choice. It's 4 power, so you get the 2 armor off, and then once it gets exposed, the 2 armor comes right back at the end of your turn. So that's options. Raiding Fleet, honestly, is here simply just to get out an Armored Jakar. So this pretty much acts just as a deck thin for Armored Jakar. Plus, it is bleeding, so it is providing some pings to your opponent as well, and it does bypass armor, which is great. So Raiding Fleet is there for that purpose. So you're going to want to make sure that Armored Jakar, there's always one, or there's at least one in your deck when you have Raiding Fleet out. And you want to have Raiding Fleet out. Freya's Blessing is here, being able to rejuvenate one of your core engines to bring them back, and maybe having to do it again. So example, if you want to combo Armored Jakar plus his Valblood Priest, then you get that bonus in round 3, and that can provide a decent strong power bonus just because Valblood Priest's leeching power off of the Armored Jakar. And of course, your Armored Jakar is always going to have armor, so it's never going to take any health, take any power away from your total power while gaining 2 at the end of every turn, and if your opponent can stop it, even better. So yeah, so this is good for getting any 2 card combinations off. So if, for example, if you want to combo, let's say Armored Jakar with Valblood Priest, for example, or even Armored Jakar with Terror Crew Plunderer, you have options there. Marjoram, again, is here for, you're able to damage your Armored Jakar, you're able to damage Olaf or Draco Turtle. I'm thinking of maybe adding one more card that relies on damage to get boosted, although I'm not sure if there's any more. Like, for example, I might put in Blue Boy Lugos in replacement of Jutta, just because it fits more with the central core of the deck. Being able to add Jutta just adds an extra option for Sigdrifa's Right in case, your cards don't let you pull off the Olaf and Draco Turtle combo and start, going mayhem with all of your self-damaging cards. Again, you also have your hero power, so you actually have a lot of ways in which you can damage your own monsters. So that's been another case in which I think I may have too many cards that do damage. So I'm not quite sure. Because I'm thinking here, like, I chose to remove one Heimei Protector just to accommodate the provisions of this deck. Because you can tell I barely have any 4 costs, and I'm kind of rocking a lot of decently expensive cards, so I had to balance it as best as I could. So next, I have the Drum and Shield Maiden. Guys are wondering why on earth do I have a Drum and Shield Maiden? It's just simply for the deck thin. It's just a test, of course. This deck's just a test. I want to see how it plays out in competitive, so it would be great if this deck does pretty well, but if it doesn't, it is what it is. I did notice that when the new I think hotfix came out, that the Rowdy Dwarves got nerfed big time. Like, it got nerfed really big time. Like, the Rowdy Dwarves lost their armor, which is actually a bigger deal than before, just because now that they can be easily damaged or easily removed from the field. And I think a lot of the Rowdy Dwarf support cards also got nerfed, so it's gonna be a big yikes. I know Mystic Echo just went down a provision support, the provision bonus. So just because I think it was still finding use in competitive even after Iron Judgment came out, so I can see why they did that. Anyway, back to the deck though. Drum and Shield Maiden there just for that deck thin, and she fits well with the self damage core, so putting them in there for now. Armored Jakar, so you guys already know, really good source of of self-damage. The only way for this card to be useless at all is if A, it doesn't ever come out to your hand, or B, it gets locked, because it's going to be hard to damage it completely, because at initial 4 life. It is already pretty hard, not to mention it has 2 armor. I think it starts with 2 armor instantly, yeah, so at 6 overall life, it's gonna be hard to take out, and I don't think you want to use a 6 damage output card just to get rid of it, just because there are other cards that you just gotta worry about. So this card's almost always gonna stay in the field. Demon Corsair, the only way this card's gonna get its second ability off is if I play 2 armored Drakars. I really don't have any other ship that works with that, but it's good for that progressive bleeding. So again, it serves as an extra engine, which is nice. Which is actually pretty nice. So it's good to keep around. If it gets removed, you know, it's a good thing that it's 1 less damage output card that you have to worry about when it comes to play your other engines. Spellblood Priest, you guys already know, is for that support of the Armored Drakar, or support for any of the other cards that need to get damage to, you know, to benefit. I might do the switch for, I might get rid of 1 Terror Crew Plunderer for a Heimei Protector, just because I think Heimei Protector would just do better in the long run. But I'm doing this thing for now just because of the tendency that Heimei Protector is gonna get removed relatively easily at 4 power. So I'm gonna do this for now. I might switch it up. I might play a game where I do 1 Heimei Protector and 2 Terror Crew Plunderers, or I might do another game in which I do the reverse, where I have 1 Terror Crew Plunderer or 2 Heimei Protectors. But for now, this is sort of the setup that I'm gonna go with. So Heimei Protector, just being able to, you know, get the benefits from my cards that get damaged. Now, I don't know if this is gonna work on the boat yet, because I haven't quite seen it. I think it does, because it's still technically taking damage, even though it's not losing any power. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep this for now. And last but not least, we got Terror Crew Plunderer. Again, you damage the ship with this thing. It's just an this is pretty much a 6/4 if you just damage the ship with it. So this card is actually pretty decent at 4 power. So that's sort of the overall gist of the deck. Couple things. Because you have a lot of options for revival, you're sort of okay with going aggro on round 1, sort of playing out quite a few of your core cards with support of your damaging cards round 1, just so you can provide that little bit of extra pressure to your opponent. And it also supports, you could also say it's a bit of a psychological game, just because they're like, okay, he's played Olaf, I'm not have to worry about Olaf anymore. And then suddenly round 3 you bring out Sigjifa's Right, and then you start hitting him with all of these damage cards, and suddenly he gets that power boost again. And yeah, so that's one way to think about it as well. It's not ideal to sort of, you know, be loose on round 1. Like when I say loose, I mean like just playing down to 7 cards and then passing, because you want to set up round 2 and 3, because there is a chance that your opponent could try to play out round 2, in which case you sort of have to play your hand out. And if they choose to pass halfway in the off chance that makes your hand feel really awkward, then that's where you will encounter some problems. So I'm probably gonna try and push round 1s with this. Of course, obviously it depends on what combos of cards you have in your hand, but with a strong set like Olaf, Draco Turtle, Swavel Totem, you have lots of options in a short 3rd round that will benefit you a lot. So that's the showcase for the, I don't know what I'm calling this deck. I'm gonna try and call it hybrid, but not really. It's still self-damage, so I guess I'll call it self-damage. This is my showcase for the self-damage Skellige deck. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Comment on any cards that you like to see change. I'm pretty sure some of these cards are gonna get removed. And I like how Skellige's gotten a little bit more versatile in terms of its usage of its archetypes and mechanics. So I'm looking forward to playing this deck. And subscribe for more videos. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out. Catch you guys in the next one.